So After Effects is probably one of the most confusing things to use, as in comparison to CapCut or VideoStar, which is what I've used in the past. So after about 2 years of using After Effects and going on and off, I'm going to do a tutorial to help people because everyone always asks. So the very first thing that you want to know about After Effects is projects. So when you open a new project, it will give you this menu, and you want to press new composition, and then you want to call it whatever your edit is going to be. So edit test, which will be mine, and this will be a bit different, but what I always have mine is 1080, and then lock aspect ratio to 1.1, so that what it's going to do is it's going to be in a format that Instagram and TikTok can use, so you don't have to keep on reformatting it for every single platform, which is good. So I have mine on 60 frames per second. That's a personal choice, but the duration is going to be 20 seconds for now. So the first thing that you want to do is get your clips and then your audio. When you have it in your folder, you want to get all of your videos that you'll be using and drag it into here, the project files, which will then import them, so you can drag them into the timeline. You can do it directly into the timeline, but it is more organized, and you can reuse them if it's in here. So just, it's preferred. So we're going to start by adding in, okay, so we're going to add that to the beginning of the timeline. And we're going to press this button here, the lock button, so that we don't accidentally change it or move it so it's out of sync. And then we're going to get this little tag and change the color to, change it to a color that you don't use, so that you know that this is the audio and you won't get confused. You can also rename it if you want to. So you can call it audio. And then it'll be obvious not to delete that one. Now this button here makes it so that if you hide this layer, you can press this button right here and it'll hide it from the timeline and from here. This is useful if you have like extra audios or extra things that you need to organize. So now that we don't have the audio, but you can hear it, we're going to import the video by dragging it to the beginning. Now what you want to do is you want to find the part that you want to use, and then Control, Shift, and D. And then click on the one before, and delete it. Okay, so now that I have all of the clips imported, so now that it looks like an unedited video, I'm going to export it, just so I can show the comparison at the end.
Who's that?
It's Aisha, bitch. I make these rap cats go and beat some dick. With my big fat ass and my sleazy lips. Cover girl, yeah, it's easy breezy, bitch. He was a fuck his head. He was more than a hoe.
Now, on this clip, we've clearly got a bit of an issue with the sizing. So actually, you should not pre-compose your clips before you do the positioning of the video. So if your clip needs to be bigger or smaller or whatever you need to move it with, do that before you pre-compose. Okay, so the first thing that you definitely have to do is to go into the clip and press pre-compose, and then move all attributes into the new composition and have this checkbox ticked. Ticked, yes. And then just do this for every single clip. And you can't highlight them and then do it, because then they'll merge together, so you have to do them individually. Now, starting with the first clip, I'm going to be organizing my compositions so that they're in the order of when they appear. So I have this nice little line. Okay, so on the first clip, we're going to go to Effects and Presets. And then find Twixtor Pro. Now you have to have the Twixtor Pro plugin for this. There is a lot of plugins that you will need in general After Effects way. So I do recommend doing this with plugins. Now, we have this little menu here for the effects. We're going to press this little arrow and then go to Effects, Twixtor Pro, Output Control. And then we're going to press I to go to the beginning of this clip. And then press this speed stopwatch. And now at the beginning, we're going to have it at 150 to 200. It depends on the clip and how much movement there is. If there's not a lot of movement, I would put the up to 200. But because this is a video of her dancing, I'm going to do only 150. And then I go forward about 8 frames. And then change it to 50 or 20. So that's a bit too much movement, so I'm going to put it down to 20. Now that we have a bit of a Twixtor, we're going to go to the output control, and we're going to do frame interpretation from blend to motion weighted blend, and then warping to inverse with small blend. Now, you're going to select these two, the keyframes for the speed, and press F9. This will make it so that you can edit the graphs. And then, so we're going, this is the graph editor here. We're going to press this to fit the graphs to the view. Right click, make sure it's edit speed graph and not edit value graph. We're going to drag this and then drag the circle towards the right a bit so that it has more speed when it comes to the end rather than more speed when it comes to the beginning. That's pretty much the best that I can explain the graphs with, but yeah. So now that we have this, we can get these two. And depending on what type of edit you want, you might do the Twixtor going outwards after, which I'm going to do right now. So you want 150 to be here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 220. Then we're going to do the opposite of what we've done on here. And we're going to make it so it's more that way. Now that we have a pretty much basis for the keyframes, we're going to copy that, remove that so it's more organized, and then we're going to go to the beginning of the clip, Control V, and then press U to see the keyframes, and we're going to move these keyframes to the end of the clip. So that now we have it on this clip too. I've had to go back and redo all of that, but I'll just be doing that again. Alright, so now that the Twixtor is done, we're going to add some transitions. Now, this won't be a full transition tutorial because they're very difficult and would need a whole other video in itself. I'll give you a rough guide in this video, so now, because the type of editing that I'm doing isn't going to be a lot of movement with the actual videos themselves, this will be a very simple video, and I'm just going to add a couple more transitions. Now, I've done all the transitions and things in the video that I need to be over the videos. I'm going to go to the end of all the clips that I have and mark the timing. So 1554, copy that, go on to composition settings, and then make it so the duration of the composition will end at at this time so that we don't have that extra part of the video and extra timeline that we don't need. So all of this timeline now is all of the video. You can zoom in, but if you're all the way zoomed out, it will be all your timeline. Okay, now we've got all of that. We're going to add a flicker to the screen. So this is more of the effects and coloring type. So I'm going to get rid of this grid and then add a new layer, which will be a solid color, and that can be pure black. Now we're going to go to the opacity and hold out on the stopwatch and then click it. Now we're going to do wiggle, then in brackets 15, 10, and then minus 90. Now we have a little flash. Now we're going to add another effect. So we're going to add a adjustment layer. So layer, new, adjustment layer. This is going to do it for all of your videos. So you won't need to do them individually. You can just add sharpening effects and others to the adjustment layer, and it will do it to all of them. So you're going to add in the effects bar and you're going to find sharpen. Blur and sharpen will be here, and then you're going to add it to the adjustment layer. I'm going to set the sharpen amount to around 50. And then we're going to add underneath the sharpen mask an unsharpen mask. I'm going to set that to around 30. Radius will be 15. Other way around, I think. Yeah, that's going to be the other way around, sorry. 15 and 30. That's the colouring that I use for me. I'm going to put that back to a third so it's not too much. We're going to add a magic bullet lux. And I think it's called lux. Yeah. It's going to be an RG magic bullet and then lux. We're going to drag that to adjustment layer. And the look is going to be edit. We're going to add. And first off, we're going to add Colorista. Click on it, and then I'll change some of the exposure. There you go. Also, we need to do that, and we're going to press Tools here. And it's going to be haze/flare. And now we're going to be very specific with what I do with this. Okay, so we're going to get Channel Mixer next. Oh dear, not that. Tools, and then Channel Mixer. I'm going to set the blue saturation to 0.2. And then the green up to about 0.2 as well. And that's going to be about 100. That's going to be that. And then we're going to press the tick. Next one is going to be spot exposure. So we don't need to mess with those settings much. Apart from this to 0.40. And I'm going to make this white. Just to make sure it's white. Should be all good from that. Okay, so now that that's done, I'm going to add curves in the color correction category. Add it to the adjustment layer. I'm going to make it so it's a bit more curved with the colouring. Just around that much, down there. And then we're going to go to hue and saturation. For hue/saturation. Add it to the adjustment layer. And the mask saturation is going to be 1. That's all you're going to do. We're going to put the mask saturation up to 12. Now, because we have so many of these effects already, I'm going to add another lux from Magic Bullet so that we don't have too many of the same in that menu. So we're going to edit that again. And we're going to add hue/flare. Not haze/flare. I can't say that, I don't know why. Then we're going to click on it, and we're going to set the spillage to 30. And the softness to around 65. There we go, and then the reach is going to be 100. Exposure is going to be 0.5. 4. Oh. Then because we want to actually see the effects, I'm going to put this on white room. There you go. There we go. Now then, we're going to set that setting. This to 70%. And then the overlooks to 90%. So don't have too much of an influence. Now that's it for the colouring. I'm going to add some more effects and text, and then I'll show you the finished result.
Who's that?
It's Aisha, bitch. I make these rap cats go and beat some dick. With my big fat ass,